What's up, Barnhill family, and welcome back to the channel.
Yo.
So, Nick, I got to just come right out of the gate and say that I think the performance that Alexander Volkanovski put on last night in the Max Holloway trilogy was the single best featherweight performance that we have ever seen inside the UFC's octagon. What did you think of this fight?
Well, I was quite wrong in my prediction. I thought that coming after the second loss to Volkanovski, Max Holloway looked really good. He didn't hold his head too low, even though he didn't get his hand raised. And I thought we were going to see the Max that just finds his groove and seems unstoppable come out there. Volkanovski had all the answers he needed. Volkanovski has Max's number. There's never going to be an opportunity where Max beats Volkanovski, I don't think. They could fight 10 times, and I think Volk gets his hand raised 10 times. He just has the style to beat him. But I don't think Volkanovski gets enough credit for how dominant he is on the feet, how dominant he is at keeping the fight where he wants it, and how good he is at winning rounds. This guy is absolutely the most underrated champion in the UFC. It's only a matter of time before he potentially becomes the champ.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to be underrated after this fight. I mean, the second fight, the second installment of Volkanovski versus Holloway was controversial. I think maybe there's a case that Max won that fight. And so I think that kind of hanging over Volk's head really did diminish the entire body of work that he's done thus far. And I think he put that cloud way off into the distance last night with that performance. As I said, I think this was the single best performance we've seen by anybody at featherweight. He dismantled Max Holloway. He was way too fast for Max, which we know Max to be one of the fastest, most accurate strikers in the UFC. He was more accurate than Max. Even though he was shorter, he was coming in and landing the better boxing exchanges, which was a surprise to me. His kicking was better. And then the strength advantage was just absolutely on display all night. The couple times Max Holloway tried to grab a leg or tried to get double underhooks on Volkanovski, it almost seemed like Volkanovski was drilling. He was able to just swing the underhook himself, reverse the position, and put Max against the cage. How you would see like a higher level Greco-Roman wrestler or somebody who's been seasoned in the sport of wrestling for years do to a novice. I mean, it was that easy it's seemingly that easy for Volkanovski to do to Max Holloway. And I don't know that the guy's got anything left to do at 145. It's one of those situations like Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker. You know, Robert Whittaker beats everybody that's not Adesanya, and then he loses to Adesanya. But I think it's even more dramatic and drastic at 145 because Max Holloway beats the brakes off of everybody. I mean, you talk about who's the best boxer. Going into the Calvin Kattar versus Holloway fight, everybody was saying it was Calvin Kattar, and Max Holloway boxed his ears off. So do we really need to see, Kattar? I know he just lost to Emmett, but just to use a name by way of example, Kattar versus Volkanovski, does that really get you going? Does Giga Chikadze versus Volkanovski really get you going after what Kattar did to Giga? Does Josh Emmett versus Volkanovski really get you going? I think if anybody's deserved and earned the right to challenge for a champ status, it's somebody like Volkanovski who has stayed in the division, been a consummate professional, been active, fought people 2-3 times just to prove he was the best. He deserves the winner of Islam Makhachev versus Charles Olivera if he wants it.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it's a smart move for him to go to 55. Listen, between him and Max Holloway, they have absolutely cleaned out the division.
Yeah.
And there's some new guys coming in that will likely insert themselves into the top 5 in the title discussions. But that doesn't mean Volkanovski's not willing to take those guys on when their time comes.
Yeah.
You got Bryce Mitchells and people like that. Yair Rodriguez has a fight coming up soon. We can see these guys make their way to a title fight soon. And if Volkanovski is a man of his word, which I believe he is, he'll be able to continue to make 45 while he's up there making 55 with relative ease. I don't think there's a 45er on the planet that really gives Volk a hard time. He knows how to win. Yeah, he might not finish everyone, but he dismantles you. He puts on a clinic, and he really doesn't even get hurt that much.
Yeah.
He beats your legs up. He beats your body up. He beats your head up, and he doesn't care how much taller you are than he is. So I'd like to see him go for that champ status, and I'd love to see him do what Amanda Nunes did, which is defend 2 titles at once, kind of juggle in 2 divisions.
Yeah.
That'd be pretty awesome. It's a tall order to go up to 55 and start beating people like Charles Olivera, Islam Makhachev, and then, some of the top contenders, Michael Chandler, Justin Gaethje. But he's shown us that he's got the skills to dismantle everybody at 45, which makes me feel like he can at least hold his own and make it through the end of the fights or make it competitive against the best of the best at 55.
I think you're right. And I think pretty much everybody would agree that the matchup just on paper, Volkanovski versus Islam Makhachev, most people would have Islam at probably a 2 to 3 to 1 favorite in that fight. And I think there's good reason for that. I think the consensus is that Islam Makhachev is the uncrowned king of 155. And I certainly subscribe to that belief. But at the same time, I believe Charles Olivera has got a very tough game plan, and he's going to present a lot of challenges to Makhachev. I do think Volkanovski matches up better with Olivera than he does with Makhachev. But at the end of the day, I can't sit here and tell you that decisively either one of those two gentlemen, being Olivera or Islam, without a doubt defeats Volkanovski, and not without a hell of a lot of problems in the process. Israel Adesanya let us in on a little tidbit of information, which is Volkanovski is just as strong at 145 pounds as he was when he first walked into the gym when he was a rugby player weighing 200 pounds. He's one of those people that's really unique in the sense that he's dropped 60 pounds of body weight and he still maintains the strength that he had before. So when you think about what do bigger weight classes present, a lot of them present a strength advantage and sometimes a size advantage. While there will be a little bit of a height advantage if he fights Charles or Islam, I don't believe there'll be a strength advantage, and I don't believe there'll really be a size advantage. And I quite frankly would be excited to see how Volkanovski's body would fill out if he does 55, because I have made the comment before that he looks a little emaciated when he cuts to 45. He gets that kind of bony face that not to the drastic level that Conor used to have when he cut to 45, but he does look a little thin when he cuts that weight. And so as he gets older, I think his body is going to be better suited for 55.
Yeah, and height's never been a problem for him. He's been the shorter guy in most all of his UFC fights.
Yeah.
And he's always getting his hand raised. I mean, Max Holloway was towering over him.
Like a 21 fight win streak now. If I'm wrong, it's 22. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
Yeah, next level. And there's a lot of body types like Max's at 55 that he'd have to deal with, but I don't see that being much of a problem because he's done it so many times. And then you look at the other end of the spectrum, the Michael Chandlers and the Justin Gaethjes and the people that are built more like Volkanovski. I'd love to see him go in there with some of those guys. I think that would be entertaining. And you know, Michael Chandler's got a great style. He'll go trade with you, and he's got some good power. He's got some good wrestling. I think that'd be a really fun fight to watch. And I also think that you're so right when you say that the strength is the big difference when you move up a division. Well, he's going to have the strength. And then the one thing nobody ever mentions is when you move down, you generally give up speed. So he's going to come up with a whole lot more speed, in my opinion, than those 55ers. And he's probably as strong. Now, there's a lot of things that can happen. MMA math never makes sense. But Brian Ortega had him in his deepest submissions and his favorite submissions that he could possibly get, and he still wasn't able to finish the champ. So I don't know personally if I would say Islam Makhachev is a better submission grappler than Brian Ortega. And if he can't finish him with submissions, I don't know if Islam can. And if Islam is a little bit slow on the feet and he's able to win rounds against Islam, that could present some problems. And that's why I'm kind of leaning towards Olivera being the most difficult challenge for Volkanovski as of right now. Now, that is crazy. We have to see what happens between Olivera and Islam. But after that one, I think Volkanovski should definitely insert himself in there, go for that champ status, go for increasing his legacy, go for greatness. And who knows what this dude's going to do. But the title and the name he's given himself of Alexander the Great is very, very fitting.
Very fitting indeed. Guys, thanks so much for watching this video. If you're new to the channel, we talk all things combat sports here. If that's your bag, we love to subscribe. And if you haven't already, smash that like button. It helps us out with the algorithm. We'll see you in the next one.
Peace.